I brought you here today to talk about something that's not particularly new. We call it Guardians of Innocence, and that's what our detectives do. They are simply the very best in the business any place in this country. And we protect children, and we arrest those who engage in child pornography. And I'm going to go over a few of these child pornographers. I like to call them the dirty dozen today, because we've arrested 12 for possession and or distribution of child pornography, and we have 6 others that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. But I want you to focus on the fact that about half of this dirty dozen had over 100 counts or more of possession of child pornography. Research shows us that those who engage in child pornography either have or would, given the opportunity, engage children in sexual conduct. The people I discuss with you today may come as a surprise. It may come as a surprise because many of them appear on the outside to be normal, working men, but when you see their conduct on the inside, you too will be offended. By the way, did you know that today is National Techie Day? So I thought we would start with our child pornographers that are in the techie business. How about Daniel Crawford? Daniel Crawford's employed by Baycare at Winter Haven Hospital. He's married. In fact, he was viewing child porn while his wife was pregnant with what is now about a 1-month-old baby. We charged him with 121 counts of possession of child pornography and 1 count of promotion. Then John Escobar from Lakeland is also in the IT business. He works at Lake Wells Medical Center, and he's charged also with 100 counts of possession of child pornography. And it being Techie Day, we'll go on with our others. This is Jose Figueroa. He's in IT sales. He works for Milliner Inc. As I understand, it's a large national group. They have offices in Tampa and Orlando. He fantasizes. In fact, he was bragging that some of his extended family members were being sexually abused by him. So as you can imagine, that immediately rang all the bells. We found those children, and he in fact had not been sexually abusing those children, but he was fantasizing and bragging about it as he communicated with his other pervert friends. He was charged with 110 counts of possession of child pornography and 3 counts of promotion of child pornography. Then we had another IT fella, Paul Roebuck. Paul is employed by Greenway Health. He is a software engineer. He was retired out of the military, the Air Force specifically, where he was a police officer. He's married. He's charged with 107 counts of possession of child pornography. Well, he's not the last of the techies. This is David Sorenson. He's from Mulberry. He is married. He has children at his home as young as 3. He's charged with 23 counts of child pornography, and he was in the techie business. He is no longer. He set him up an eBay store where he wanted to buy games, children's games, fix them, and then resell them online. However, his business was not very successful. However, he was successful at downloading child pornography. Calvin Barnes. I want to talk about Calvin Barnes for a minute because he was another one who fantasized online with other perverts. And he would tell others online that he was molesting his extended family children. It's not true. We ran those children down and found out, thank goodness, that they're safe. But he was putting some normal childhood pictures of them online and bragging to his pervert buddies that he was molesting those children. We were relieved upon our investigation to find out that it was a fantasy, that he was not doing that. He's charged with 68 counts. 35 counts are promotion of child pornography, 33 counts are possession of child pornography. And then, of course, how could we have an operation such as this without our Disney employees? Kyle Gita is from Haines City. He's worked for Disney for 3 years as a bus driver. He's charged with 61 counts of child porn, possession, and 1 count of promotion. And he preferred children as young as 2 years old. I'm going to take a break before I talk about the other Disney employee because this guy is rather interesting. And when I show you our last Disney person, I have something else to show you along with that. It's kind of where I'm ending with the Dirty 12. How about Ronald Weiss? Ronald lives in Soledad. He's economically well set. He has a PhD in business management from Penn State. Did I say Penn State? Oh. He's an associate professor, or was at one time, at Penn State. He was a professor at the University of Akron. He was an assistant professor at the University of Wisconsin at Stout. He was a professor at one time at San Jose University. He has a long and illustrious career in the education field. Then he went on to be president of small colleges, for-profit colleges, where he was a president of International College of Hospitality. He was a president in several colleges of the Education Management Corps of Canada. He was president of Everest and the Fort Worth campus, the Orlando International Art and Design, and the Southern Tech College of Orlando. He's been married to his dear wife for 46 years. She is absolutely blown away. She claims to have no knowledge. She's in total shock about all of this. He talks of fantasy, having children, having obviously inappropriate relations with children online. So when he has this fantasy talk of inappropriate relations with children online, he does this with other perverts. We arrested him. He bonded out of jail. We were so kind as to put him back in jail this morning. He's currently facing 144 counts of possession of child pornography. And this, as I said, was his second arrest today. So even on the outside, when they look like they're upstanding citizens, they have a deep, dark side that is perverse and dangerous. 144 counts of possession of child pornography. And every time he uploads or downloads or distributes child porn, he's victimizing those children again. But our last person is Miguel Ruiz from Davenport. He's a Disney employee. He's worked there for 15 years. He's an attractions attendant currently. He taught school in 1999 at Lake County Treadway Elementary for 1 year, and they wouldn't renew his contract. And he apparently has not been able to get a job in a school since that time. Well, that's a good thing. He is charged with 3 counts of possession of child pornography and 1 count of promotion. But here's the frightening thing about him. He makes his own sex babies. And here's what he does. He takes these swimming noodles that you frequently see children with. He wraps towels around them. And then he puts them into children's clothing. I'm told that he buys most of this clothing at stores such as Goodwill. And then he has other attributes that he puts into these clothing to simulate body parts. This guy's sick. He's really sick. You notice he's got some toys here, some things that would be childlike to go with his childlike figure, who they estimate, if it were a child, would be about 8 to 10 years old. There is no children in the home. So this is all for his fantasy and his play, and he downloads child porn. We think he has the potential to be a very dangerous person. I can't thank my detectives enough for the hard work that they do. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the reason I brag on them is not only are they the very best in the business, but they have to endure looking at this stuff in order to bring appropriate criminal charges. And I can tell you, it is so horrific you can't even imagine. Your mind won't even let you, as a normal person, understand what's happening. But let's stop from the dirty dozen a minute and show you another fella. This is Charlie Cook Jr. He was employed as a youth leader for the Torah in the Marketplace Church when we arrested him. He has since been fired. He was arrested for having sexual conversation with a youth member of the church. We charged him with transmission of harmful materials to a minor and unlawful use of a two-way device. We think, we don't know, we have no evidence that he may have sent such communications to other kids in the synagogue. However, none of them have come forward and admitted anything criminal to us at this time. We know he communicated to other kids as part of his job as the youth leader, but none of them have admitted to us that anything was sexual. However, if Charlie Cook communicated inappropriately with you, we want to know it. They promptly fired him. Now, we have some pictures down here of folks that we have arrested for failure to comply with their sex offender registration. But there's 2 here that you see, Derrico Williams from Winter Haven and Marvin Hewitt from Bartow, who we're chasing right now. We don't have them in custody. They are on they're on sex offender registration, and they're required to do certain things. These were charged with child-related events, and as a result, they're not complying with their registration requirements. And we don't know what they're doing because they are running from us now. If you know who they are or where they are, if you know where they are, please let us know. We want to put them in jail sooner rather than later, and Crime Stopper money is available. So think of all the wins we have here. A win for the community, a win for the children in the community because they'll be locked up. A win for you because you'll get Crime Stoppers money. That's important. We want these guys locked up and in jail. So, when you look to see that the work that our detectives have done, you understand that there are children that are victimized. I'm sad to report to you today that we weren't able to identify any of the children in the photographs, thereby saving them. And as you know, our detectives work very hard in an attempt to do that, and we're ultimately successful many times. There's nothing I can say that adequately expresses my disgust for these human beings, if you want to call them that. They're dangerous, they're perverted, and we know that given the opportunity, statistically speaking, they would or have engaged children in inappropriate behavior. Any questions?
How do you guarantee the ones who mentioned abuse specifically aren't abusing kids? I mean, a kid could easily say that it didn't happen because they're afraid they're going to get in trouble or something.
We do a forensic interview with the children. It's a very complete investigation, and there is no 100% guarantee, but we are as sure as we can be at this stage of the investigation that they're not victims. However, certainly we've made contact with their family, and the family clearly knows if they see any indicators to the contrary that we want to know about that just as soon as possible.
And then you mentioned that one of them uploaded some pictures of some kids that were families, is that correct?
That's correct.
Where did they upload it and, you know?
Well, they uploaded it to the web, and what they did is they were fantasizing with their perverted friends and bragging about how these are the children that they engaged in sexual conduct, when in fact there is no evidence that that occurred, because we did an in-depth investigation working with the children's parents. I bet the children's parents are hot. I know I would be hot. The safest place for them to be would be in the county jail if they did that and said that about my children, because I'd choke him out quick.
Do these 12 have a history of this, and how far back does it go?
Well, we don't know how far back their history goes. We know that on one of these individuals that we've actually been chasing him since 2009.
And who is that?
Well, which one was it? He's in Williamson. But we've chased him since 2009, and we're not able to build a criminal case on him until just recently.
And why were you chasing, and what kind of information did you have?
We had information that he was dealing in child porn, and that he was engaged in perversion on the internet. However, there's a difference in us having information and us having enough credible evidence to build a case, and now we have that.
Do we know if any of these men have physically abused children?
There's no criminal history that I'm aware of at this time, or we would have brought that up to you today. But keep in mind, they live double lives. And that's what is so hard to convince the average public, because they go, nobody really acts like that, and nobody really thinks like that. This Dirty Dozen absolutely does. And they are dangerous people because they do live double lives, and they look like, in many cases, wholesome, all-American kind of folks. You got a PhD, IT at the hospital. Hey, you know, they're respectable people with respectable jobs till they get home and get behind that computer and do the nasty. And we thumped the nasties.
When you arrest folks who are actually having sexual contact with kids, how often do they speak about starting off with child pornography?
Do you know it is not unusual for them to confess to their crimes? They usually don't confess to a lot of their history. Some of these lawyered up immediately, some of them made admissions, and some of them provided confessions. But they don't tell us, oh, by the way, I sexually abused children, because obviously most of them are smart enough not to dig their hole any deeper than it already is. But I can tell you this, when you look, one of these, this fella here, I think it is it this one? Yeah, let me see which one it is. This one here managed to take a guy away from his wife in Pennsylvania. So his soon-to-be significant other or significant other is getting a divorce from his wife to come live with this guy who's in possession of child porn. So where do you think all that's going?
She might be getting back the ring pretty soon.
You know, I have no evidence about his significant other or future significant other, but my best guess is the wife ought to be happy he's left Pennsylvania and come to live with this dude, except it's an empty house right now because he's in jail. It is unbelievable when you get on the inside and you look at this. And this is the kind of thing here that upsets us really, really bad. I mean, he makes this. And let me suggest this to you. When we got to the house, he made this for us. When we asked him, oh, you make that? So he put it together. Are you kidding me?
I don't want you to go into graphic detail, but does he talk to them? Does he have sexual contact with them?
All of the
What do you know
above.
about the relationship between the doll and the
He has relations with this doll. All kinds of relations, verbal relations, sexual relations, perverted relations. He actually put this thing together for us. No head.
There's no header, the picture just doesn't show a head.
Doesn't have a head. You thought he'd put a balloon there or something, wouldn't you?
Really?
The guy's a nut. I'm just telling you. All right?
Can we ask some questions about the Haines City elderly woman who was abused?
You certainly can.
Can you tell us what you know?
What I can tell you that Friday morning, it was reported to us that an 81-year-old female was the victim of a sexual battery where a person unknown broke into her house and sexually battered her. And certainly that's under investigation by our Special Victims Unit right now. And we've also put a Crime Stoppers request out for people that might have seen a person in that particular area at that particular time, and that information is available to you. The investigation's ongoing, and obviously, because of the sensitive nature of it, we're not going to release a lot of details. However, we are significantly concerned about the report to us.
Should the public be concerned?
The public needs to be concerned in the fact that we don't have a suspect in custody. We have no other like reports. We look for trends and patterns. So I would stop short of telling you that we've got a quote-unquote rapist on the loose. But I will tell you this, that we don't have a suspect in custody. We've not gotten to the bottom of this investigation yet. The victim is obviously cooperating with us, and the case is still very, very active. We see no other indications at all of anyone in the community or any activity that is particularly suspicious in the neighborhoods. That's why we've gone to Crime Stoppers, seeking anyone that could give us any additional information.
What did the woman say was stolen from her home?
Costume jewelry.
Jewelry, and that's worth nothing.
That's worth nothing.
Was there any violence involved?
Well, you know, I'm not going to give any more details of the investigation because, I mean, 81 years old, and someone breaks into your house and allegedly does this sort of thing. It takes a thorough and complete investigation on our part, and we're certainly actively looking for a suspect at this time.
Did he know her, do you know?
I don't know. That's part of the investigation that's underway.
Do you know if she called 911 or reported it, or a family member?
I don't know who dialed 911. I can tell you that our response was immediate. We send our Special Victims Unit detectives out immediately. That doesn't pin for the next working day. We roll them out, right now. And we have been in a full court press since Friday morning to uncover everything we could about this investigation. We've also asked FDLE to help us. They've rushed through and are working on some DNA tests for us right now. So all hands are on deck investigating this. But once again, we don't see any other patterns of activity. Certainly, there's a lot of investigation to complete, even though we've been working around the clock. As you can imagine, we're out grabbing videos and from different stores and businesses and houses before it's written over, and there's a lot of analysis to do, and all of that's occurring now.
Was the intent, do you think, the sexual or the alleged sexual assault or the burglary?
Yeah, that's some more of what I'm not going to talk about, but nice try.
How badly was she battered?
That was a nice question, but I'm not answering that either. Y'all have any other questions I'm not going to answer? Just give them to me.
And obviously a pretty sick individual.
Well, do you know, we are significantly concerned, and that's why we're doing a complete and thorough investigation. And we're leaving no stone unturned. And as soon as we get all those answers and are ready to talk to you, we'll give you details. But right now, because of the sensitive nature of it, we are going to hold that close to the vest. So we want to know stuff that we don't want the potential suspect to know. Thank you all very much. Take care. Have a good day.